Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending the Edward Air Force Base Permit Renewal Public Meeting. I am Tammy Pickens, the Public Participation Specialist for the Department of Toxic Substance Control. Next slide. Participating in this meeting, you understand that this meeting is being recorded and you may be muted for background noise. The recording will be available on EnviroStore. During the question and comment sections, we will focus on answering questions related to this evening's presentation. As always, we will do our best to listen and address all comments and questions so that everyone has the opportunity to participate. Additionally, we ask that you limit your comments or questions to make room for others who may not have had a chance to participate yet. Again, we thank you for your patience and understanding as we navigate this collaborative space together. Next slide. Tonight's meeting will provide information about the Edwards Air Force Base permit renewal and receive public comments. Presentation slides in English and Spanish are available on DTSC EnviroStore database. To access the slides, go to www.envirostore.dtsc.ca.gov. Select Reports and choose Permitted Facilities. Type in Edwards under project name, select Reports, Review Documents for In Progress Permits. Choose Public Comments. Media questions can be presented to Russ Edmisons with the DTSC Office of Communication at russ.edmison@dtsc.ca.gov. Next slide. Tonight's agenda includes permitting process overview, permit renewal project presentation, Q&A session, a 5-minute break, the hearing officer presentation, formal comment session, closing and next steps. Next slide. Tonight's first presenter is Ryan Dominguez. Ryan.
Thank you, Tammy. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan Dominguez. I'm a supervising hazardous substances engineer with the Department of Toxic Substances Control in the permitting division. I will be your hearing officer later this evening when the hearing begins. Right now, I will be providing you an overview of DTSC and the permitting process. Next slide. At the Department of Toxic Substances Control, or DTSC, our mission is to protect people and the environment. The permitting division specifically oversees permitted hazardous waste facilities in California that treat, store, or dispose of hazardous waste. We oversee their operations and maintenance activities, such as environmental monitoring, to ensure they are being protective of human health and the environment. One of our other major roles is to review hazardous waste permit applications. For the Edwards site, we provide oversight for 3 specific hazardous waste units used for treatment and storage of hazardous waste. Mike Cho, the DTSC project manager for this facility, will go into more detail about the facility specifics after I finish this overview of the permitting process. Next slide, please. So I'd like to give you a brief description of the permitting application review and decision process. The permitting application consists of technical, operational, and administrative information that can take 2 or more years to review. The first step in the permitting process is the pre-application phase. If a facility would like to treat, store, or dispose of hazardous waste, they must submit a permit application to DTSC for review and our approval. Prior to submission, DTSC meets with the facilities to discuss what an application must include. Existing permit applications hold a 10-year expiration date. So every 10 years, the hazardous waste facilities must submit a permit renewal application. Once the application has been received, we move into the permit application review phase. Next slide, please. The DTSC reviews the permit application in detail. We look to ensure that the application includes all the information that is required by regulations and that the information is technically sound. In our review, we are ensuring the facility plans to operate in a way that protects people and the environment. The application must include details of how the facility will inspect and maintain systems, as well as plan to monitor and protect the surrounding environment and communities. Next slide, please. Once we have completed our review of the permit application, we draft our permit decision. The decision could be a draft decision to approve or deny the permit. In the case of the Edwards facility, it is a draft permit decision to approve the permit. The next step in the process is the public review process, and that's why we're here today. Next slide, please. At this point, the decision to approve is a draft decision, and we want public input before we make a final decision. Our public comment period began July 2nd and ends August 24th. Today, we are here to hold the public meeting and public hearing. We will collect all comments we receive during the public hearing portion of today's meeting. You can also mail or email comments to Mike or Tammy, and we will respond to all of those who comment and provide us contact information. Next slide, please. So the final step in the permitting process is the final permit decision. Next slide. Based on our review of the application and the comments that we received during the public comment period, we will make a final decision to issue the permit as proposed, issue the permit with modifications, or deny the permit for good cause. We hope to have a final decision within a month or two following the close of the comment period for this permit decision. DTSC will send notification of the final decision to each person who submitted written comments or requested notice of the final decision. And the final decision will also be posted on the EnviroStore database. Next slide, please. Once the final decision has been issued, it can be appealed anytime in the 30 days following the final decision. Anyone who filed comments on the draft permit or participated in this public hearing may petition DTSC to review any condition of the permit decision. Those who did not comment on during the draft or on the draft permit or did not participate in the public hearing may petition DTSC to perform an administrative review only of the changes from the draft permit to the final permit decision. Additional instructions for the appeal process will be contained in the notice of decision. So I hope that I provided some insight into the work that we do to ensure our communities and our environment are safe, as well as our permitting process. I'll now hand the mic over to Mike Cho, who will be providing more detail about the site and the permit.
Good evening. My name is Michael Cho. I'm a senior hazardous substances engineer with DTSC Permitting Division. I'm the project manager for Edwards Air Force Base Storage and Treatment Permit Renewal. Next slide, please. Tonight, I'll be going over the details of the draft permit renewal for Edwards Air Force Base. I will cover the following topics, including facility description, permit history, details of the permitted unit operation, and finally, differences between the current and the draft permit that is being public noticed tonight. Next, please. Edwards Air Force Base is located 60 miles northeast of Los Angeles. It's located east of Rosamond and northeast of Lancaster. Edwards is a very large military base occupying over 300 acres of land. Edwards Air Force Base is owned by the United States Air Force, and the hazardous waste permitted units are operated by the 412th Civil Engineering Group Environmental Division at Edwards Air Force Base. Next slide, please. Edwards Air Force Base had a hazardous waste permit since 1985. The first permit being issued in 1985 for operation of hazardous waste container storage unit. And once a hazardous waste permit is issued, it is good for 10 years. And therefore, the 1985 permit was renewed in 1995. And a second permit renewal was approved in 2005. The permit issued in 1985, 1995, and 2005 was only for the operation of the container storage unit. Then in 2015, a Class 3 permit modification, which basically means a significant modification to the permit, was approved to the 2005 permits to add the operation of open burn and open detonation unit. Edwards Air Force Base is currently operating under this 2005 permit with the 2015 permit modification edition. And we are public noticing the draft permit, which will renew this 2005 permit. Next slide, please. There are 3 units permitted at Edwards Air Force Base. They are Hazardous Waste Support Facility called HWSF, which is a container storage unit. We have open burn unit called OB. It's a treatment unit used for open burning of waste. And then we have the open detonation unit called OD. It's a treatment unit used for open detonation of waste. Next slide, please. This map shows an overview of Edwards Air Force Base and the hazardous waste units. Base boundary is shown in green. We have the Rosemont to the west and the Lancaster to the southwest. The HWSF unit, the storage unit, is located north of the main base and approximately 3.5 miles south of the north gate near Rosemont Boulevard. OBODs are located inside the what we call Explosive Ordnance Disposal Range, called EOD range. Closest base boundary from the EOD is approximately 1.5 miles, and base boundary directly south of the EOD is approximately 5 miles. Nearest residential community from the EOD is High Vista Community at about 6.1 miles southeast of the EOD. Next slide, please. Now I'll go into a little more detail about the HWSF container storage unit. This unit stores hazardous waste generated from Edwards Air Force Base in containers. Wastes are generated from various Air Force activities, including aircraft operation and maintenance, research laboratories, building and field maintenance. One important point to note here is that waste stored at HWSF is only generated on site. Edwards do not accept any waste from outside. Some types of waste stored in HWSF include solvents, acids, batteries, resins, flammables, and caustics. The storage itself is conducted in Storage Building 4916, which has 6 separate storage bays and a front storage area outside of Building 4916. Building 419 is 7,100 square feet in area, and the front storage unit is 480 square feet in area. The storage floor is sealed with epoxy coating to resist chemicals and has curbs and sumps to contain any spills that may occur. And the maximum time hazardous waste can be stored at HWSF is 1 year. Next slide, please. This table shows the capacity for various containment areas of Building 4916 and the front secondary containment area. Please note, all storage area combined has a maximum allowed storage capacity of 39,680 gallons. Next slide, please. This diagram shows the whole area of the HWSF. As shown, HWSF is fully secured via 6-foot-high fence with barbed wire, and the actual storage unit being permitted are only the Building 4916 and front secondary containment area highlighted by thick red lines in this diagram. Next slide, please. This diagram shows a more detail of the Building 4916. As previously mentioned, Building 4916 is divided into 6 separate areas. They are the West Bay, Central Access Way, East Bay, and to the south, 3 bays named 4916A, 4916B, and 4916C. And again, the front secondary containment area located just outside of building 4916. Next slide, please. This slide shows the actual picture of the building 4916 and the front secondary containment area. To the right, interior picture of the building is shown. As you can see, the containers are stored on pallets and also on racks. Also shown are curbs and sumps that are used to capture any potential spills that may occur. Next slide, please. Now I'll discuss the open burn and open detonation unit. Picture on the slide shows the overhead view of the OBOD units. OBOD units are located inside the EOD range. In the picture, you can see the two circles inside the green rectangle. The top circle is the OD unit, and the bottom circle is the OB unit, as well as the green rectangle being the EOD unit. Next slide, please. OB unit is located in a remote desert area inside the Precision Impact Range area called PIRA. PIRA is an area used by the military for aircraft bombing practices and munition detonation testing. OB unit is 300-foot radius circle located on the bottom and inside the rectangular EOD area. OB unit is used to treat ignitable and reactive waste. Typical waste are solid rocket propellant and propellant laboratory waste from Air Force Research Lab. This permit will limit the maximum annual treatment of OB and OD to 100,000 pounds per year. One important item of note is that in the last 5 years, Edwards has not conducted any OB operation, meaning that this treatment unit has not been used at all in the last 5 years. Next slide, please. Similar to OB, OD unit is located inside the EOD and inside the PIRA. OD unit is a 300-foot radius circle located on top of the rectangular EOD area. And OD unit is used to treat ignitable and reactive waste. Typical waste include munitions such as bombs, grenades, landmines, flares, and fuses, and solid rocket propellant generated from the Air Force Research Lab. Again, this permit limits the maximum annual treatment of OB/OD to 100,000 pounds per year. Another important information to note here is that in the last 5 years of operation, there were on average of 5 OD events per year and an average of 860 pounds of waste treated per each year. So based on 100,000 pounds of proposed treatment capacity in this permit, that is less than 1% of the total maximum allowed that has been treated at Edwards in the last 5 years. Next slide, please. This map shows another overview of the EOD range. As you can see from the map, access to the EOD is strictly controlled. And as mentioned before, EOD range is located in a very restricted and remote area of the Edwards Air Force Base. Please note there are multiple access control points shown as red dots on this map. 2 access controls to the south and 3 access control points to the north to reach the EOD range. Next slide, please. To operate the OBOD, there are many requirements that must be followed. One requirement is to have a buffer zone of 2,500 feet for 500 pounds of waste treatment and 5,000 feet for 2,000 pounds of waste treated. And this is to protect base personnel from air blasts that may be generated from the OD operation. There is a treatment capacity of 2,000 pounds per event to limit exposure risk based on the health risk assessment. Edwards can only conduct one OBOD event per day for logistics and safety reasons. OBOD operation can only be conducted during the daylight time for safety reasons and also as an OSHA requirement. Next slide, please. Another main requirement for the OBOD is the soil and groundwater monitoring. Groundwater monitoring is conducted via the 5 groundwater monitoring wells surrounding the border of EOD, as shown in the pictures as red circles. Soil monitoring is conducted via soil sampling on the OBOD circle areas, as well as the area outside of the EOD. Sampling of soil and groundwater is required 2 times per year. An annual report is required to be submitted to DTSC detailing the results of the monitoring. Based on the monitoring reports, there seems to be no increased detection of contaminants above historical background levels. Next slide, please. Additional OBOD requirements include evaluation of alternative technologies to OBOD, which is required every 2 years, evaluation of air emission sampling technologies, which is required every 5 years. And as I mentioned previously, a permit is good for 10 years, and at a halfway point of the permit, a 5-year review of the permit will be required to see if any technological or regulatory changes have occurred to affect the OBOD operation. And as previously mentioned, soil and groundwater monitoring and reporting is required annually. Next, please. There were various assessments that were conducted when the OBODs were permitted to ensure no significant impacts from OBOD operation. They included ecological risk assessment, which showed no adverse effect to ecological environment. Also, a health risk assessment, which showed no significant risk to human health. A noise assessment, which showed no significant noise impacts. And air quality assessment, which showed no significant impact to air quality. Please note, these assessments were conducted based on maximum treatment of 150,000 pounds per year. While this permit will reduce this treatment amount to 100,000 pounds per year. Next slide, please. There are changes between the current and the draft permit, which we are public noticing tonight. The most significant change is the reduction of the OBOD treatment capacity. The current treatment capacity is 150,000 pounds per year, which will be reduced to 100,000 pounds per year. This is an approximately 33% reduction of the treatment capacity, which will reduce any issues related to the OBOD operation. And also due to the upgrading of the storage containment system, container storage capacity was slightly reduced from the current 40,480 gallons to 39,680 gallons. Finally, this permit adds for OB operation, addition of wood dunnage and diesel to be used when fuel is needed to start or maintain an OB burn. Next slide, please. So this concludes my presentation on the Edwards Air Force permit renewal. Please note, you have until August 24th to submit any comments. Documents are available for review at DTSC Regional Office at 8800 Cal Center Drive, Sacramento, California. More conveniently, documents are available in the EnviroStore database. Please follow the web address and the direction on the slide to access the documents. Next slide, please. Again, my name is Michael Cho, and I am the project manager for this permit renewal. I can be contacted via phone and email as shown on the slides. Tammy Pickens, who is the public participation specialist, can be contacted in the number and the email as shown. If you would like to send a mail instead, please address it to me at the address shown on the slide. Next slide, please. Now we will transition to an informal question and answer session. Please keep your question limited to presentation and this project. Also, please note, this is an informal question and answer session. So if you would like to get a formal, more detailed written responses to your questions, please hold your question and submit them during the hearing portion of this meeting, which will be followed shortly after a brief break. So for this informal Q&A session, we have some technical subject matter experts here to help with the questions. They are Mark Edwards, who is a senior engineering geologist. We have Brian Endlick, who is a senior toxicologist. And we have Ed Walker, who is a supervising hazardous substances engineer too. And with that, I will hand it back to Tammy to facilitate the informal Q&A session.
Thank you, Michael. This slide provides an overview of the 3 ways you can ask a question or make a comment. To use the Zoom audio, use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. When we call on you, you'll be invited to unmute your audio. For anyone calling in by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. I will say the last 3 digits of your phone number when it's your turn. You will then press *6 to unmute your audio. If you have a question in Spanish, the interpreter will ask your question for you. To have your question read by myself, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are listening in Spanish, please notify the interpreter when you have a question or comment. We will now begin the Q&A session. Since we don't have any questions, we will now take a 5-minute break. Next slide. Welcome back. We will now move forward with the formal comment sections for tonight's meeting. You may submit comments by using the Zoom audio, the raise hand feature, and you'll be invited to unmute your audio when it's your turn. Phone audio, press *9 to join the phone queue. The facilitator will say the last 3 digits of your phone number when it's your turn. Press *6 to unmute your line. Text only. To have your comments read by the facilitator, please use the Q&A feature. Next slide. Ryan Dominguez, the hearing officer, will lead this portion of the meeting. Ryan.
Thank you, Tammy. Hello again. My name is Ryan Dominguez. I am a supervisor within the permitting division at the Department of Toxic Substances Control, and I'm also the hearing officer for today's public hearing. So this is the public hearing portion of the presentation this evening. The hearing is being held in accordance with the provisions of California Health and Safety Code, Section 25200, and Title 22, California Code of Regulations, Section 66271.11. DTSC appreciates your attendance here tonight, and we will carefully consider your comments and questions before we make our final decision. During this public hearing, please note that your comments are being recorded. Also, please note that during this hearing portion, DTSC does not respond to your comment. We will respond to questions or comments received during this hearing officially in a written format after the end of the public comment period on August 24th. A public meeting was held prior to this hearing to provide information regarding the permitting process and more information about the facility. Our public participation specialist for this facility will be facilitating the comment period. In order to allow everyone to participate, please limit comments to under 3 minutes. And I will now open the hearing up to receiving comments and pass the mic back over to Tammy.
Thanks, Ryan. Next slide. You may begin to raise your hand to submit comments. Brittany, did we receive any comments on the Spanish line? Thank you. Since we have not received any comments, I'll hand it back over to Ryan to close the meeting. Ryan?
Thanks again, Tammy. I'll let the record show that no one has submitted a comment and that I am concluding the Edwards Air Force Base Hazardous Waste Facility permit public hearing. The time is 6:45 on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021.
Next slide. Thank you for your attendance and have a great evening.